I'm at Our Story Studios, and look who stopped by to see me.
Hey, nice to see you. I'm Sarah Pierce with Pierce Accounting.
Oh, of course.
Yes,
Now
hi.
I didn't recognize you
Yeah.
at first, even though you're right around the corner.
Oh, the old post office building.
That's an awesome building.
Yes.
Say, we just got done shooting an episode of Martin County on TV. Okay. Would you like to see that right now?
I would love to.
Let's take a look. I'm here today with
Ken Detloff.
And Ken, who are you with?
I'm with Kenway Engineering. I'm president of that, and I run that company with my wife, Barb.
Very cool. Now, is that the business that when you're going out of town, out of Fairmont, to the west on the south side of the road?
Yeah, exactly. It used to be an old Toro building when it was first built out there.
Oh, really? You know, I've drove by there, as maybe some others have, for many, many years. Now, we've known each other for a while now, but for a long time when I drove by it, I always go, I wonder what they do there. I wonder what goes on in that business. So this might be a good time to help me and everybody watching. What do you do there?
Well, Jeff, you're not the first one that asked me that. And what we do is we manufacture air conditioning and heating systems for construction equipment and off-road cranes, anything like that. We've actually worked for equipment that supported Air Force One. We've worked with military, the Armor Up program. It's something we do. It involves manufacturing. It involves engineering, customer support, the whole gamut there, as well as after the sales support.
And how long have you been in that location or in business as a whole?
We've been in business since 1981.
Okay.
Matter of fact, that same year I got married to Barb, I gave her another surprise. We started Kenway Engineering.
Same year.
Same year, actually, 1 month later. I was working for a company called Eagle Engineering and Manufacturing in Welcome, Minnesota. And I've worked there for like 6 years. We're doing primarily the same thing, maybe a little bit different market. It was the aftermarket. We would go along and we would install air conditioners and equipment.
Okay.
You know, after it was manufactured from the factory and say sitting in a dealer's lot, and we would install these kits in those that people wanted air conditioning. And part of my job there was originally I was a helper, and I got to ride along in the van, do what I was told. I had some pretty good teachers, some good friends, a lot of support. Coming from a farm background, as I have, I understood the machinery and understood it well, and I worked into the engineering department quickly.
Sure.
So I understood the business. You know, that's where I got my start as far as my education.
So, are you from this area, or where are you and Barb from originally?
Barb is a Martin County gal through and through.
That's awesome.
And joke between me and my one of the guys that works for us is that if you marry a Martin County woman, you're gonna more than likely live in Martin County.
That's good.
I'm from central Minnesota.
Okay.
I was born in Minneapolis, lived there for my first 3 years of life, and went to a high school in Swanville, Minnesota.
Swanville. Now that one I'm not familiar with.
It's a very small little town in Morrison County.
Okay, know where that's at.
Little Falls is the county seat. It's on the Todd County, Morrison County border. I grew up on a farm in Todd County. Went to school in Morrison County.
Yeah. Tell us how this all got started.
All right, that's interesting. It got started, as I've been saying, I worked for Eagle Air in the past, and then our founder, Tom Panka, sold the business to North Star Universal. And of course, they wanted to grow the company, so they started bringing in their people. And I was kind of a homegrown engineer, and they wanted degreed engineers that could handle more complicated things than I could, specifically. So ultimately, I got laid off in November, 1 month after I was married, and I really loved my job. what I was doing. I loved it very much. And so I talked to my wife, and we decided that we were going to get do some advertising and try to get into it. I put together a little bit of a business plan, and I was really lucky enough to go to the Welcome State Bank. Been to a couple others, but I went to the Welcome State Bank and showed them my business plan, and they go, "Oh, interesting. I think we can support you on that. Just tell us what you need." And they borrowed me some money for advertising, and just down the street here, a couple of stores down was Burroughs Printing.
Sure, I remember.
They made our brochures. I did we did I did a numbers game. If we get 1/10 of 1%, we would be happy. And what was that? We understood before I was laid off. I did understand very well that the counties were starting to buy air conditioners and retrofit all their motor graders, and there was a lot of motor graders out there.
So you saw a real need.
I saw the need, and that's what I went for.
What do you think was your big break that has built the company to what it is now?
Oh, okay. Well, I did well for 5 years, selling motor graders. But my big break came back with Eagle. I come full circle. They approached me and asked me if I wanted to distribute their products.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, I could start focusing on a bigger customer. There was a lot more engineered products out there for me to sell, and I wouldn't have to manufacture my own. So that was a big break. I had a lot of exposure to many, many more customers, and I had a lot of friends that worked at Eagle Air. They helped me out immensely in terms of making sure my product was always ready,
Sure.
answering my questions, supporting their product. And so that was my big break.
Now, when you were doing that, distributing their product and different things, you got back into manufacturing, though, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. As things happen in just about all industries, there's a motion and a wave of things that happen. And when air conditioning just first started, automotive type air conditioning, remember the cars? Maybe we're aging ourselves a little bit here, but remember when cars had their little under dash units?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That was the air. Well, it wasn't long before you didn't see that anymore, right?
That's right.
Then what the heck? They're putting them in pickups now. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Then pickups, and then everything. Now even my skid steer has air conditioning in it. So if you're sitting behind the wheel, driving down, and you're in the aftermarket business, you got to be thinking to yourself, "Ooh, now this is kind of interesting." Either I needed to convert to manufacturing, or I would end up as a service repair person, which there's nothing wrong with service repair, but I was loving the manufacturing, the creativity of manufacturing.
So what year did you start back into the manufacturing?
Yeah, so Eagle and Kenway started running a little bit butting heads because it was their job to do the manufacturing.
Gotcha.
My job to buy their products and put them in. And what was happening, though, was that I was selling jobs that required manufacturing, and Eagle was working on other customers and didn't have the time for me necessarily
I see, yeah.
to create new products for me. That just was supposed to buy the stuff that was off the shelf. So ultimately, I had to get back into my own brand, and very happy, never looked back.
Now, Ken, I know you and Barb are involved in quite a few things personally concerning the arts.
Well, sure. We enjoy the arts. We enjoy the camaraderie involved in the arts. I've been to your place,
Sure.
obviously, when you were running that. I've been to the Red Rock. In my retirement years, I hope to be able to spend a lot more time at that.
Well, I've seen you both in dinner theater, and you're quite good.
Well, thank you.
Quite good. And in fact, I was going to show you and the folks, Gary Jerstad was a local person here. I don't know if you knew him or not.
I heard of him. He played piano.
Played piano very well. Understatement to say he played it very well. and he was blind, and he was a very interesting person and very talented person. Well, there was an interview done with him, I don't know, before 2000, that I think the people would really enjoy seeing, and I think you would too.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
want to take a look at that?
Sure, let's do that.
All right, we're back again for Focus on Fairmont. I'm Al Travis, and I'm here with Gary Jerstad. Gary, thank you very much for coming in today. Do appreciate it.
Thank you, Al. You're sure looking good.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Coming from you, that's a heck of a compliment. Thank you. Gary is in. We've known each other for a while, but I got to tell you, I'm quite impressed that the award, and I have the brochure here, the Golden Deeds Award was given out last week, week before last, because you were on last week's show. We showed some highlights. It was given out, and you were the recipient of this award, and I think that's a great honor, and it's neat to have you on the show with us. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a very humbling experience to receive that award, and very much of a surprise, because the award goes to a person where, you know, they go beyond the call of duty in terms of volunteer work, and you do the things you do, not necessarily to be noticed nor to get publicized, really, because you enjoy doing what you do. But when people take note of that, it's appreciated.
Well, and it's easy to take note. I believe you've been doing concerts for like the last 13 years, something like that, 16 years? I'm going to have my notes out here. 13 years?
Yes, since 1984.
And you've raised over like $16,000 you've donated to different causes back into our community. So it's easy to notice, Gary.
Right. Well, it's kind of neat, you know. When we sat down, by we I'm talking about Kurt Nelson and myself, because he wanted some information in terms of how much had been raised and where the monies went to, and it was quite surprising, really. And you know, I didn't realize that the concerts had as much of an impact as they did.
Well, and they obviously do, and not just monetarily, but many people enjoy your concerts, just the musical enjoyment they can get out of it. If you don't mind, we have some footage, some B-roll as we call it, of you at the awards and doing some of your concerts. Can we take a look at that?
I'll enjoy watching that.
Let's roll the B-roll. Well, we are looking at you in your home now. It looks like you're making coffee. I made this comment to you because I've seen the B-roll earlier. You keep a very clean house. Is that normal, or did you just spruce it up because we were coming in?
No, that's normal, because you know, having moved into my own home a couple years ago, I'm very proud of that fact, and very conscientious, even though I don't see it necessarily, but I want to keep it neat, and it's a neat investment and something that you're very proud of.
And it shows. It looks very nice. I might ask you, because you do the talk circuit, sounds so cheesy, but you do a lot of chats with high school, junior highs, elementary school students about your handicap and what you, how you got this way and what you do. I don't want you to give us the whole spiel, because then no one will have to hire you to come do that. But can you give us some background, and how do you end up in your own home and owning your own home?
Well, I think the opportunity to own my own home came about because of some things that happened on a monetary basis, which were to my benefit. And
well, and then I'm not talking monetarily, how do you end up in your own, but how does a guy that has been blind since birth start putting on concerts, and now you've got your own home, you keep it clean? You must have a good network of help, I would think, just to know where to hang the photos.
Oh yes, a lot of help from family, and of course, when the idea of having my own home was spread through the community, it's amazing. You don't realize how many good friends you have who were so thrilled that they want to do their part to help see this thing through and see it reach a successful goal that it certainly has.
And it certainly has. Can you give us some of what you talk to the kids about when you go to the schools?
Yeah, I talk to kids about blindness because it's something that I'm very open about. And the basic idea, I guess, is that I don't look at blindness necessarily as a handicap. It might be an inconvenience sometimes or a characteristic, something you don't want necessarily to happen by choice, obviously. But, you know, very early in life, I knew I had a choice to make. I could sit and feel sorry for myself and feel bitter because of what happened, or you make the best of your opportunities. And I think I use the blindness as an opportunity and try to convey to young people a positive attitude that despite whatever limitations you have, you can and will make an impact on your community if you so choose.
So would you consider it more of a motivational speaking is what you do?
I would go that way, yes.
All right. We're running out of time, and we could talk for a long time. I want to say congratulations again on the Golden Deeds Award. I think that is outstanding. The company you keep and the people that have received it before you, you are sitting in good company. And it's a phenomenal list, and you deserve to be on it. We thank you for coming in.
Now there's one talented person.
It's amazing what he has done and accomplished.
Isn't it? That's for sure. Say, I wanted to ask you another question. Where can we find the products of your company?
You can find them in machinery and in the agriculture fields, in Martin County, as a matter of fact.
Sure.
You can find them in the oil fields of Texas, Saudi Arabia. You can find them in every continent of the world.
That is incredible. And tell us, where do you think the industry is going?
Okay, that's interesting. I think as I look into the future, as we just kind of visited the past, the underdash units, I think transportation and equipment is going to change dramatically. I believe that there will be autonomous vehicles that won't even need a cab on them. You wouldn't need air conditioning. Chances are...
That's not good.
Well, it is and it isn't. You know, if I say it's not good, that means I'm not embracing progress.
Sure.
It would be like the guy who built wagon wheels. You know, when the automotive was coming out and said, forget them automobiles. We don't want them automobiles.
Sure.
So you have to embrace this. Secondly is that not all vehicles will be autonomous. And there's always the people carriers, every place.
Of course.
Every piece of equipment that carries a personnel needs to be air conditioning. And we really need to examine ourselves, what we're doing today. As a matter of fact, when I was growing up, I'm still a young man.
Of course.
My job didn't exist that I do today. As a matter of fact, I've been doing this for almost since 1981. And when I was in high school, obviously, just a few cars maybe had air conditioning, but most of them did not.
Sure.
As we're working today and thinking about our jobs, thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, always embrace the future and be prepared for it.
Well, and just like you said, we have no idea what kind of jobs and needs there's going to be in the future. Ken, I want to thank you very much for coming in today. And you know, now, when any of us head out of town to the west and we see your business, we're going to go, we know what they do there.
That's right. We keep people cool.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Ken.
Yeah.
Glad you stopped.